He was so close to making history last weekend, but don't let that diminish how locked in he has been as of late, allowing 3 hits over the last 57 batters he's faced. His name is Drew Rasmussen, and we welcome him into Off Base. Okay, Drew, just take us back to that near-perfect game. How did it feel to be that close?
It was really special. We had a good game plan going in, and what Frankie does behind the plate for us, and CB, in all honesty, they're great. And so, all I ever have to do is go out there and worry about executing the pitch, and I love giving credit to our defense. They make it way easier on me, and so it was truly a great experience.
What's up, Drew? Keith McPherson here. So, during the game, you're rolling, you're feeling good, you're facing the minimum. When did you know? Did anyone in the dugout crack? Did somebody say, hey, you're flirting with some perfection here?
No. Guys in the dugout, they're way too sharp for that. They knew what was happening. I had a pretty good idea of what was happening hitting about the 6th, 7th inning, but they started shying away from me in the 7th, and I just can't have that. I need people to talk to me. I need a chance to catch my breath. And so, luckily our starting staff, they did a really good job of talking to me, keeping the atmosphere light, because, that's something that can start to weigh on someone, I'm sure.
Hey, Drew, Anthony Recker. First of all, I think I read that you threw a perfect game in college at Oregon State, so this wasn't your first go-around, huh?
Yeah, in March of 2015, I did that as a freshman. It wasn't quite as efficient as what the other day was trending towards, but it was pretty close.
Speaking of which, in your next start, you took a no-hitter into the 6th against the Royals. What do you attribute this role you're on right now? Because obviously something's working really well.
I think I think some fatigue could start to set in. I haven't thrown this many innings in a long time, and so the staff noticed that, and they did a really great job. They got me a shortened outing in Detroit about 2 weeks ago. And then after that, we had a couple off days sandwiched around the Milwaukee series. And so I think I got to catch my breath a little bit and get a little bit more life to me.
Hey, Drew, this is Hannah Kaiser. First of all, I feel like I should tell you, that 8 innings of perfect game is more rare than a full no-hitter, so I feel like we should celebrate it.
Well, don't worry. My last outing, I blew that hitter one, so
no pressure on that one. Then it takes the pressure way off. I find your sort of evolution as a pitcher to be so interesting from last year into this year. You added the sweeper, but then sort of over the course of the season this year, seems like you've maybe moved away from that, leaned on the cutter more. Tell me sort of how you think of yourself as a pitcher and how you view your arsenal.
Yeah, out of the bullpen, I really only needed 2 pitches. And so I threw the carry fastball at the top, essentially, and then I called it a slider, but it went straight down, more like a power breaking ball. And so this year we've started implementing the sweeper, which was new for me, and the command of it wasn't great, but it's gotten a lot sharper over the past couple of outings. And then the cutter is basically the old breaking ball the old slider I've always thrown, but just a quick little tweak, and it started getting a little more horizontal movement to it, a little bit more velocity to it, and then we took out some of the depth.
Wow, it's been a lot of fun to watch. It seems to be working pretty well as of late. Speaking of great work, you and your wife, Stevie, have been heavily involved with the Miracle League. Just talk to us a little bit more about the league itself and your work.
Yeah, we love the Miracle League. We're pretty heavily involved in Phoenix. That's where we live in the off season, and my wife's on the board there. And we get the opportunity to go out and support the great athletes that participate. It's a league for disabled children, and not even just children, and adults, and so just the opportunity to go out and spend time with them has been great. And then here in this area, just another company, Miracle by the Bay, we've been fortunate enough to build a connection with and got to participate throughout the spring and summer with them and what they all have going on here.
Rec mentioned your career at Oregon State. You've played against some Oregon State former teammates. Obviously, you got the better on Adley in that near perfect game, but how's it been sort of getting to face your former teammates now at the big league level?
Oh, it's so much fun getting to see those guys. I'm sure, everyone knows all the success Adley's having. I don't think there was any doubt with his talent and just his understanding for the game that he was going to come up and step right into the big league role. But on top of it, Oh, boy, I was going to say, you guys showing a fly ball off me. I thought he clipped me in the first inning of that game at our place. So thank God that stayed in the yard. But, then Nick's out there in Chicago, Madrigal, and he's having a great run of it. And Trevor's in Minnesota, and Caleb Hamilton just got called up by them a couple months ago as well. And then Kwani's doing his thing in Cleveland. I know everyone loves that man. And so, just the group we had at Oregon State was really special. And, we were able to create really great connections. And now just watching everyone have success at this level is nothing but a blessing.
When they're not facing you, do you root for them?
Oh, of course. I mean, I love those guys. If they are facing me, I want hard contact, but I prefer it to be right at someone. Then it's kind of a win-win. They get to feel good and pat themselves on the back, but I don't have to worry about them on the paths.
Hey, let's go back to last week, Yankee Stadium. I obviously was out there for a couple games. One thing I say is no matter what goes on with the Yankees, the fans will hit the YMCA with joy. It does not matter the score.
Oh, yeah.
But camera crew caught you guys getting in on the action. What was this all about?
We were getting involved with it a little bit. Things were rolling pretty good while we were up there. I think if you watch the video and you go to the internet, you'll see that I'm right. Our left-handers are wrong, but that seems to be, pretty true to almost everything.
Easy. I'm a lefty.
The YMCA is a tradition at Yankee Stadium. That's easy to follow. But you guys have a tradition of your own down there in the Trop. I don't think we're going to see anybody try and imitate security guard that dances.
My knees
in your
and hips
ballpark.
already hurt. We don't even have to show it.
Wow, this is good.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Just you wait. The finale.
Oh, wow.
The finale's
Oh.
Oh, God. Yeah, that you can't beat it, but I don't think I'm going to ever imitate that one.
Give us just a little bit, like a taste, not the cartwheel.
Like a little shimmy.
I don't
little
got
shimmy.
that.
Little
Hey, we don't
shimmy.
got music going
Little
on here.
shimmy.
We don't got any music or anything going on here right now.
You may not have that, but in 2019, you mentioned your wife and some of the great stuff you guys are doing away from the field. But in 2019, you and your wife, during the minor league season, you had an interesting experience, lived in an RV. Tell us about that and some of the places you visited.
You know what? I loved every second of that. It made, it was our little house on wheels. I joke and say it was our first home. She does not like to joke as much about it as I do. We got the tour all over the place, especially in 2020. It was really nice. Finding vacancy in places was hard. But for spring training, we lived in that thing and took her on up to Milwaukee for the year and got to debut. Lived in a campsite there at the alt site, and then lived in a campsite in the city of Milwaukee itself at the fairgrounds. And on our way home, we decided, you know what? Hey, why would we just rush home for the off season? We've got a couple months, and we definitely have a couple days here at the beginning of the off season to kill. So we went to Yellowstone. We did Mount Rushmore. We stopped at a bunch of places and got to see a lot of cool stuff. Yellowstone, we were only there for 4 or 5 days, and that was nowhere near enough time. We're going to have to find a way to get back there for sure.
That's awesome. That's exactly how you do those parks. I got one more for you, though, and we're going to get back on the baseball field for this one. Look, you started your career with Milwaukee. You came over to Tampa Bay.
Yep.
I've talked to some of my former teammates who ended up in Tampa Bay and have left, but they've said some really good things about the organization, the way they put guys in successful situations. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what your experience has been there?
You know what? The first day I got here, they did a really good job of saying, hey, you're good, and this is what makes you good. I think in Milwaukee, I would get in a pinch, and I'd try and do too much. And so the first thing they actually did here was simplify for me. Hey, you don't have to shy away from the big parts of the strike zone. That was the first thing. Instead of trying to, make a perfect pitch, when you first get called up and you have those anxieties of facing big league hitters over and over and over again, I just feel like young guys can really try and like I said, make the perfect pitch. And that's not necessarily what needs to happen. Here, they've challenged me to use the big parts of the zone and then expand with 2 strikes. And that's, the main focus. Can we rush to 2 strikes and then make a good quality pitch then? And that really freed some things up for me and kind of took away some anxieties.
Yeah, it seems like a great culture where they encourage you to be yourself, and obviously it's working quite well for you, Drew. Congratulations on all of your success, and best of luck down the stretch. And maybe we can catch you dancing another time. We won't make you do it here.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, hey, you know what? Catch me in a dugout at the right time, and you'll probably see it. But that's probably where it needs to end.
All right, if you're in the camera well, be on the lookout. Hey, Drew, have a good time. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.